You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County, Monday through Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Thursday at 11 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listening to the sound of my voice. I hope you started your day off good, because I did. It was a little rainy here in Georgia. 63 degrees going up to a high about 72. So we're going to have a pretty nice day. We had a pretty good day yesterday. Going to have a pretty good day today, and I'm excited about that because anytime the weather is good, it makes me happy. So listen, I got a guest in studio today. We'll be coming to talk to him pretty soon. But before I get to my guest, I want to go ahead and give you your horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thizen for today. What's today? Thursday, March the 12th. We're going to kick it off like we always do, and that's with Aries. Concentrate on spending quality time with children and friends. Heed the advice given by family or older reliable relatives. Problems with appliances or electrical gadgets will drive you crazy. Listen, if you are not that person to fix the electrical problem, the gadgets, go call the right person. Don't try to do it. Don't blow up the microwave. Don't break the dishwasher worse than what it already is. Just call a professional. Don't stress out about it. All right, Taurus, you may be in an extremely passionate mood today. Okay, Taurus. However, you should be concerned about what they want in return. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. This is a turning point. I don't know what this is, but it's a turning point for you, Taurus. So just know it is. Gemini, direct your energy wisely. Calm down and take a step back. You can't lose today unless you get involved in gossip or overwork to the point of exhaustion. Avoid gossip at all costs because you want to have a good day, and don't work yourself so hard. You know, we have a tendency to do that. I'm guilty. I am so guilty of that. I am. But I'm going to relax. I'm going to learn how to enjoy. Cancer, you will have additional discipline. You will have additional discipline that will aid you in your objectives. Family outings will make you feel secure and happy. You can't always have your own way. Cancer, you can't always have your own way. Sometimes it's got to be somebody else's way. I know you want your way all the time. You can't have it all the time. Leo, changes in your home environment may cause friction. Don't get involved in other people's private doings. New emotional connections can be made through business contacts. Mind your business today, Leo. It's not your business. Don't get involved. It has nothing to do with you. Make some new connections. Go to a business outing. May meet a new love. Who knows? Never know. Virgo, deal with the needs of children and get into groups that deal with self-awareness. You will have the discipline to make changes you feel are necessary. Secret affairs may be tempting. Oh my goodness, Virgo. I say it all the time. All the time. If it's a secret, don't do it. If it's a secret, Virgo, don't do it to yourself. I'm just saying. If it's a secret, don't do it. All right, listen, I'm going to a song. I'll be right back after the song to give you more of the horoscopes brought to you by notable astrologer Micah Thizen. You're listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. Stay tuned.
I wake up on Sunday morning, feel that ache inside my heart. I can't hold on any longer, for seconds from falling apart. Wasn't like any other summer. Soon it left that warm summer breeze. Although you gave me your promise that you were never gonna leave, but you did, and you walked
Welcome back to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. It's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, bringing you the daily horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thias. And right here on the Good Morning Gwinnett Show, we're going to pick it up with Libra. Try to join groups of interest such as ballroom dance classes, ballroom dance, or perhaps an internet organization. Help elders with their concerns. Trips will be more adventurous. Listen, I don't know about y'all. Trips can be really adventurous these days with the coronavirus. I'm just saying. They're closing down countries. I don't know. Yeah, real adventurous. I don't know. Be careful. Scorpio, education may be the answer. Delve into your work if you can't make amends at home. Don't let others saddle you with guilt that isn't warranted. Education is the answer. Education is always the answer. Education and love. I'm going to say that. Those two go together. Sagittarius, opportunities for romance will flourish through travel. Okay. I don't know how much flourishing that's going to be. This travel is a little sketchy right now. Your mate will be distressed if you refuse to make a commitment. You can ask favors and get sound advice from friends or relatives. Okay. All right. Listen. Make sure they know more than you know, though. Sometimes you're going to ask advice from the wrong people. Capricorn, be sure to get involved in self-improvement programs will bring you in contact with interesting people. Obstacles may stand in your way where career and success are concerned. Make sure that all your legal papers are in order. Yeah, I have an attorney in the office with me today, in the studio with me today. Yes, make sure your legal papers are in order. And I say it all the time. If you don't understand the fine print, consult a professional. Don't sign before you know what you're signing. Aquarius, you will have no trouble getting things to fall into place. You may have difficulties with someone close to you. This is a great day to beautify your living quarters or entertain at home. Yeah, beautify the living quarters. It's that time of the year. It's about to be spring where everything is just so nice and beautiful. All that good stuff. All that good stuff. And my fellow fish Pisces, you will meet new friends if you try new activities. Be careful not to confuse issues when discussing the matters at hand. Join humanitarian groups and let your leadership ability take over. Our leadership ability always take over. Not always. Sometimes it does. All right, my good people, that's all the horoscopes I got for you today. I'll be back again on Monday at 10 a.m. to bring you more of the horoscopes. Brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thias. But right now, let's get on to my guest. In studio today, I have Mr. Curt Thompson. He's here. He's an attorney in Gwinnett County. He practiced personal injury law, and he is running for the Gwinnett County Commissioner Chairman seat.
That's correct.
Yeah. Welcome. This is a
Good
crowded space. Thank you so much. This is a crowded space, y'all. We have 8 people running for that seat. We had 10.
Yeah, you had 10, but 2 dropped out.
2 dropped. It's like the presidential race, right? They dropped out like flies for the presidential race.
Yeah. That's 10 in both parties, though.
Wow.
3 Republicans, 5 Democrats. 3 Republicans, 5 Democrats.
And the 2 that dropped out were Democrats?
The 2 that dropped out were Democrats.
So it's 7 Democrats and 3 Republicans.
Yeah.
Ooh, people want that seat.
Yep. You're in charge of the second largest county in the state with about almost a $2 billion budget.
Oh yeah. So I've had some people on the show. Last week I had Nicole Henderson, and the week before that I had Andy Morgan, who's also running for this seat. Today I have Mr. Curt Thompson, who's also running. So he and Andy both are attorneys.
That's correct.
And Nicole was at the Gwinnett County. She was a Gwinnett County outreach director over at the county, and I said to her, You decided to stop doing that. So what makes you want to run for this seat?
Some of it is opportunity.
Okay.
It was, I'm from Gwinnett.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised here. I wasn't born here. I was born in Decatur, but raised in Gwinnett. Started at Camp Creek Elementary, finished at Shiloh High School.
Okay.
And so the ability to give back, is probably factored into it a huge amount. I grew up in South Gwinnett, where I think there's a bigger need. I live in West Gwinnett right now.
Mm-hmm. What's considered West Gwinnett?
That's like Norcross, Peachtree Corners.
Okay.
That's what I would consider West Gwinnett, and maybe the Gwinnett Mall area of Duluth.
Okay.
So it depends on how you cut the map, but that would basically be it. And then, so it was that. It was an opportunity to, with Charlotte Nash retiring, although I'd started running before she actually announced her retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Just being purely practical. I'd been in the legislature for 16 years, and one of the things that you get sort of tired of when you're in the minority party, I'm a Democrat, is kind of voting red, and Democrats had made big gains in Gwinnett County. When I first was elected, I wasn't a Democrat in Gwinnett County. I was the elected Democrat living in Gwinnett County.
Okay.
And obviously,
by that you mean it was one of you?
there was one of them. There were
Wow.
there were a few others whose districts were actually, they lived in DeKalb County and their districts crossed the county line, but I was the only one that lived here.
Okay.
And especially in the state senate.
Wow.
You know, in the state, when I first became a state senator, I was the only state senator living in Gwinnett that was a Democrat. And but you know, in 2016, Hillary Clinton won Gwinnett County, sort of 51-47, 48, because there was a Libertarian, and then Stacey Abrams had won the county by about 14 points. And so you saw us pick up seats. The state House and state Senate delegations are Democratic. We picked up 2 county commission seats. We picked up a school board seat. Almost picked up a majority on the school board, but for losing a race by 100 votes. Wendy Davis, I think was her name. And I apologize right now if she's listening and I butchered her name. But seeing that opportunity also to not just run for office for the sake of running for office, but to actually be able to implement policy. I'm from here, working towards building a bridge to Gwinnett's future is our slogan, our campaign slogan, and I think I'm uniquely qualified to do that.
Now, what would that mean for your practice, though? If that's a big, Charlotte has a big seat to fill. She has a lot of responsibility. What is that going to mean for your practice?
It's a full-time job, being the county commissioner. I guess technically you could try to do it. I will not be.
Okay.
I say technically, Wayne Hill was a county commission chair and he had a cabinet company. I don't think he ever went back into the cabinet company.
Okay.
So I think, what would probably happen is I might hire an associate to run the law, to keep the lights on, essentially.
Right.
But I would not be practicing law. It would just be too hard to try and balance both things. It was hard enough being in the state Senate, trying to do those 2 jobs, even though the state Senate is in theory part-time, it's not. And not if you're doing a good job at it, or not if you're it is a full-time job. And so I think this is even more so because you're a county executive. You're the county-wide official. The buck stops with you as far as county services go. So, no, you wouldn't keep your I would probably keep the business open, but I wouldn't continue practicing law.
So you were in the state Senate. How long were you in the state Senate?
I was in the state Senate for 14 years.
Wow.
And then I did 1 year in the state House. One term in the state House.
Okay.
So a total of 16 years.
So what made you want to get back in you did a lot of time in politics and you coming back? I kind of, it was almost like I think I heard someone say that Joe Biden was going to ask Michelle to run as his running mate. I'm like, why would she do that? Like, she just spent 8 years in that White House. Why would she do that?
Why would she want to do that?
Why would you want to do that again?
I really, I think public service is Bobby Kennedy said, public service is still a noble profession. I still feel like I've got something to give to my county. It's that. You can make the joke that Roy Barnes used to make, that the only thing that gets politics out of your blood is formaldehyde. So that's the flip side of that.
Right.
But I do think for me, it's having a heart for public service, seeing both the opportunity and honestly seeing a need. We've got to have a county commissioner who can build that bridge to the future.
Okay.
Who looks at the whole county, who's willing to make change. If you think that everything is good and there's nothing to change here, nothing to see here, nothing that needs to be done different, there are candidates that you can vote for.
Right.
Okay? I believe that Gwinnett is great, but Gwinnett can be better.
What are some of the things we can do to make Gwinnett better?
We have to move on mass transit. That has to be our top priority. It was an unfortunate mistake that they made the MARTA referendum a special election. I sometimes say if you plan to fail, you will fail. Okay? That looks like somebody got snookered, and I would say somebody got snookered. So mass transit's got to be one of the most important things. And then affordable housing, which is, because when you're talking about county services, you're talking about planning and development, things like parks, police, and fire. But affordable housing, I tell a story. My son, I bought my first home in Gwinnett County. It was new construction at that time. You could not, my son couldn't buy his first home in Gwinnett County as new construction.
Right.
It's just, we're not building that anymore.
Right.
And that's going to eventually catch us. It's going to eventually hurt the county. And if it's a good enough county for, me to be born and raised here, or me to be raised here, it should be enough for my kids to grow up here, for their kids to grow up here too, and have that same opportunity.
Right.
And then we've got to change some of the things that we do about how we're the most diverse county in the Southeast. And I represented one of the 3 most diverse state Senate seats in the whole country. And I think we need to be embracing that diversity, and we need to make sure that Gwinnett's government looks and acts like that diverse county that it is, so that when you go into a county, it's not just that frontline employee, but I told folks, I said, if you go into the county, that frontline employee looks like Gwinnett County. The moment you ask for a supervisor or a manager, you are traveling back in time. So I think we need to change that, and I think we need to make some changes in how we do some of our contracting to empower our small businesses and our minority-owned businesses, and not simply trade, one set of folks to get all the contracts for another set of folks to get all the contracts, but open it up so that minority-owned businesses, female-owned businesses, millennial-owned businesses, so that new folks have a chance to come into the market and do business with the county as well.
So now we got a lot to unpack here. So we're going to back up a minute. We're going to back up to housing, and then we're going to jump over to small business. So with housing, you said that right now, and I talked about this yesterday. So yesterday they did, I think it was Monday, they did ribbon cutting for the South Lawn, downtown Lawrenceville, right?
Right.
Those townhouses start at $200,000, and the single family detached home starts at around $300,000.
Right.
All right. So most of the development that has been built right here start at and they say 200s, but it's really like 280 and up.
Because it's 280 and up. Yeah,
280
the South Lawn District's like 280 and
right,
up.
and that's most of the places. Even the 55 plus places are still like 280 and up, right? So when you say we need affordable housing, where will we put that? Like, because I don't see any place to put.
Sure. Some of that is that we are an urban county. We are the second largest county in the state by every standard, except how we think about it. We are an urbanized county. I think you're going to have to go to more mixed-use developments. You're going to have to go vertical. When I say affordable housing, I'm not talking about everybody getting detached housing and a half-acre lot or a three-quarter-acre lot like the one that I grew up on. No, that's not a thing. Land is too expensive. But you are going to have to go vertical, probably have more condos and actual townhomes and row houses type things, and mixed-use developments where you have the retail on the bottom and the housing on top, but that it not just be apartments, but they be actual condos, or townhouses, so that people actually have that ownership, they have that tax break, they have that commitment to the community, so they're not moving every 6 months or a year, chasing some rent discount somewhere, but so that they're more committed, because that creates better educational outcomes. It creates better, if you have for families, creates better business outcomes, and from a planning standpoint, it's better. But you end up having to put those there. I mean, you say where you're going to put it. There's the ARC, the Atlanta Regional Commission, says there's about 500,000 people coming to Gwinnett County in the next 10 years. Right. And where do we put them? Right. Is important. And we have to have that opportunity for those first-time home buyers. We have to have the opportunity for seniors. There's senior housing in Gwinnett. It's just not affordable at all. No. I mean, there's some beautiful senior homes and some beautiful senior cottages and things like that. I don't want to call anyone out by any, but a lot of folks can't afford that price point. And so how do you find affordable senior housing? How do you find affordable first-time home buyer? And then there are people who have to have that second chance as well, that are starting over for whatever reason. But I think we have to have, a focus that looks at, okay, we can't just be building this one thing. Everyone looks at Avalon over in Alvarado and says, okay, we've got to do that. And I'm like,
Avalon is beautiful.
Avalon is beautiful. I'm not going to lie. No, it's beautiful. And I'm not saying there's not a place for that. But if that's all you're going to do, then you're going to, there's not space for that to be everywhere. Right. There's 447 miles to the county. We've got, and that's, you can't just build one shopping center and say we're done. Right.
There was a article I read last year, and they were saying they were going to put some apartments right across the street from the fairgrounds. But I don't know what happened to that development. Do you know what happened to that?
I don't. I mean, developments come and go in the county. Yeah. And some of it is because, there's some concern about there's a housing bubble. I mean, there's that ebbs and flows. I mean, land, it's like land is still probably the best long-term investment, and real estate is still the best long-term investment. I'm not here to give investment advice. That's just a generic statement, But sometimes developments come and go, or you'll get someone will get something approved, but you don't know what's going on because they got it zoned for something, but now they've got to go back and get the financing from the bank to actually build that something. And so
Mhm.
sometimes there's a delay. I've seen, that can happen, or sometimes it will change hands.
Mhm.
Someone was buying something subject to zoning,
Right.
so they got the zoning, but then the deal still fell through. Now they've got the zoning, but they need to get a new buyer. I don't know exactly what happened out
Okay.
at the fairgrounds area.
So now let's go over to small business because this is an issue near and dear to my heart because I'm a small business. I'm actually a micro businesses, and most businesses in Gwinnett are micro businesses.
Right.
And although there are some really good organizations in Gwinnett that focus on small businesses, I don't find that there's really one that focuses on micro businesses. Because when I think
Not that I'm
about
aware of.
no, not that I'm aware of, and so the chamber does a great job, right?
Sure.
But when it comes to the micro business, the smaller business, 1 employee, 2 employees, consultants, service providers,
Right.
there's still a need for these businesses to have access to capital, to have access to co-working spaces, to have access to business resources.
Sure.
And I know that the county is building a resource center, but I still feel like it's going to need more because we are really growing. We almost at 1 million people.
I think you have to target that. You also have to make, the county has to learn to be a bit more flexible with its building permits to allow places like flex space, office spaces to be built and things like that. The county has to learn that you can still have quality commercial development, but that is conducive to those small and micro businesses. And those things are not mutually exclusive. They can coexist. Sometimes everybody wants something that's, what you want it, fast, easy, and cheap, but you can really only have 2 of those. I mean, the fact of the matter is that you can have a good business environment for small and micro businesses, but you do have to pay attention more.
Okay. So now I know you were very instrumental in launching the CID.
Yes.
Right. How does that pertain to the micro businesses? Because I know that when I was in Jersey, they had block grants that were available to help with some funding and some nonprofit stuff and things like that. And I think we should have more of that. Does the CID get involved at all when it comes to the micro businesses, or do we need to put something else in place that will provide something like a block grant or some kind of special funding or something like that?
Well, you could do block grants. I mean, the answer is there's a lot of different ways to do things.
Okay.
CIDs, community improvement districts, were created for commercial areas to band together, almost like I guess I'd call it almost like a township, not a full city, but almost like a township, to work on improvements to infrastructure in those local areas.
Okay.
Now, in other states, the same equivalent of a community improvement district do take on more options. Okay. Our current CIDs don't. That doesn't mean they couldn't. They're self-governing boards. They can, vote to take on more. I know that what was then the Gwinnett Village CID, what's now called Gateway 85, had a nonprofit element at one time that worked on those type of issues. But you have to have a real focus on it. You have to put it in the budget. I do think that the county can look at things, whether it's from, like I said, the permitting and zoning side to help micro businesses. But you can also look at just partnering with organizations like Partnership Gwinnett and stuff like that, and not just the long-term planning for how to bring in the next, big business.
Right.
But how do we create an atmosphere that fosters and nurtures those small businesses and have, we have talked about turning 316 into a technology corridor for years.
That'd be nice.
You could also have that be a business incubator corridor.
Yes. And
encourage that so that you have those startup locations and sort of the hipster areas of town be in one area. That's fine. I think that the county needs to be looking at those type of options and opportunities and not just focus on doing business the way we've always done business.
One of the things we're doing here at Paradigm is launching a Her Tech Startup Incubator, and that's for women who want to get into technology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did the ribbon cutting here a couple weeks ago, and that was my brainchild because I feel like on the flip side of everything, there's not enough women in tech still. I mean, there are women in tech, but still not enough.
Sure.
And we need them. We need them. Like right now, when you look at the coronavirus, if we had more pharmaceutical companies and more tech companies pushing out this antivirus medicine, we wouldn't have a shortage right now.
Sure.
Just to be quite frank. So that's one of the initiatives that I'm working on. Her Tech Startup. studio, and it's going to be housed right here.
Well, maybe we can partner with that after the primary and the general election.
That sounds amazing. Amber, who's the young lady you met at the front, she owns this.
Okay.
And she has said yes to us being this being the home for the incubator. So the women will have a place to come and learn. We'll have instructors, and they have a place to come and run their business at a discount.
So we have the opportunity. We could partner with GGC. UGA has their campus in Lawrenceville, their business campus in Lawrenceville as well. So there's plenty of opportunities if we're willing to take it towards and work on different aspects of building that bridge to Gwinnett's future. But I think that the small business aspect is something that we really have to be focusing on.
Yes, I think so too. And that's not just because I'm a small business, but I've talked to a lot of small business owners, and I always have. So
it's the backbone of our economy.
It is. It's the engine that drives us.
Yes.
I used to watch a show called The Small Business School with Hattie Bryant, and she would always say that. So now let's go over here to something that's a little bit I don't know, not touchy, but I look at my nephew's a coach at Mississippi State, a football coach, and he was in LA last week, and I said, hey, listen, tell me what the marijuana industry is doing out there.
Right.
And he said, okay, but here, and I don't know if it's just a Southern thing or because I've been told it's a Southern thing.
Okay.
But I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that we're missing out in that industry where there could be tons of revenue coming in, but because a lot of people who are in charge saying no, it's not good for us. It's not good for us. And when my husband works in pharmaceutical, I'm not knocking pharmaceutical because it pays our bills. But when you look at some of the medications that are made out there, if you ever listen to a commercial, it's like, should you really be taking that?
Yeah.
So when you look at marijuana versus some of the things that are on the market in the pharmaceutical industry, I don't see where the problem comes in there. So maybe you can clear it up.
And I don't
for
either.
Me. Okay.
And admittedly, I was the first state legislator to introduce a full, what you would call a full spectrum medical marijuana statute, similar to what now Florida has. They didn't have it at that time, and similar to what Arizona has. We were trying to copy what red states did. Right. It's a red state, but definitely there's resistance in the South. They think it's a gateway drug and that the sky will fall. But I will tell you, the sky has never fallen in any other states where it's done. From the medical, I also was the first to propose going to a Colorado style.
Money, I can tell you that.
I was the first to go to. I was the first legislator to propose going to a Colorado style system, and I do, ultimately believe that that's the direction to go. It's not any worse than alcohol,
Right.
And prohibition of alcohol didn't work out well.
Right.
The prohibition on marijuana has not worked out well from a war on drugs standpoint, from a medical outcome. I think that especially with a lot of diseases, you may still want to deal with the Western medicine side, but to counteract some of the effects of chemotherapy, and some of the wasting diseases, some of the seizure disorders, some of the things like that, marijuana has been shown to help, and it's been legal in medical marijuana has been legal since 79 in California. So there is information out there. It's not something radical and new. You just have to go look at studies in Europe. You have to look at what other states have done, and I think that's the direction it's going. That's one of the reasons why I would want Gwinnett County to consider enacting what's called a decriminalization ordinance, so that Brian Whiteside, our solicitor, doesn't currently prosecute small quantity marijuana cases, but I want to actually give our law enforcement the option of just writing a ticket.
Right.
It's not something that you're going to go to jail for, because a disproportionate number of people in our jail, not the prison, but in our jail, are in there on misdemeanor drug offenses. And of those, if we're just being real honest between you and me, I know there's radio, but vast majority of those, 80% of the folks arrested on marijuana charges are African American. 80% of the marijuana smokers are not African American. That's not a thing. Okay.
Right.
But so it's having a disparate impact in communities of color.
Right.
Okay. And so from a war on drugs standpoint, from a racial equity standpoint, or a nationality equity, because it does affect the Latino community as well. We have to change that. And if for something that essentially 5 of the last 6 presidents admitted to having done, okay,
right,
obviously
the
law is
Court
behind
does they do coke? Yeah, go ahead.
What does
no?
But what if 5 of the last 6 presidents have admitted to doing it, then the law is not really keeping up with our culture either. And I think we need to address that. I had to go get a pardon for a guy one time because he had a master's degree from the University of Georgia, and he could not get a job in forest management, service management. He was smart in that field. Couldn't get a job doing more than like cleaning up in the Park Service, taking trash bins and putting out pine straw, because he had a misdemeanor marijuana conviction for being caught with marijuana at a fraternity party when he was younger in college. We had to go to the trouble of getting a pardon. Luckily, just so that he could get a promotion, he now runs a park. But he couldn't get a promotion because of that. It ought not, I'm not saying that everybody should get away with, anything. I'm just saying that the law is not matching our behavior, and it's unfairly criminalizing people for the rest of their life. Yeah. Over things that are essentially that, again, five of these last 6 presidents have admitted to doing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty crazy. And we look at the effects that a lot of the medications that are out on the market put out by Big Pharma, they're really dangerous.
And the other thing, if you were to do it if you were to go to a Colorado style system, we actually did the math. Colorado brings in about $140 million a year in revenue from that. We have 4 times their population, so that's you're talking about $500 million that could go into roads or education or drug treatment for people who do get addicted to more serious drugs. That's real money, as they say. That you could do some real stuff with. And that's just assuming that you don't have any more that Colorado is normal and there's not an excessive amount of use there compared to other states, and that Georgia would be normal. There's not an excessive or low amount of use compared to other states. That it's pretty normative across the board. And if you look at other states now, there are 10 that have legalized it. You could say the same thing. I mean, the revenue stream seems to be pretty stable at that level.
So Georgia is legalized as a medicinal.
No, Georgia has only legalized something called CBD oil, which is a derivative of cannabis, and it either comes from hemp, which doesn't have THC, or it comes from marijuana, but where they have distilled out the actual THC to a very low level, so that you can't get the psychotropic effect. You can't get high off of it. The problem is that that CBD, while it's useful for some things like seizure disorders, it's not great for wasting diseases. Where, just being very frank, you can't get the munchies, without the THC effect. And so for folks who have late stage cancer, who have AIDS, not HIV, for people who have some of the other wasting diseases, you have to have a higher level of THC for it to really do anything.
Okay. Listen, guys, we're going to go to a song, and we're going to come back and talk some more with Curt before he's out of here, because I know he has to go, and I don't want to keep him all day. But I still have a few more questions to ask, so I'll be right back after this song to give you more of my interview with Mr. Curt Thompson right after this song.
I can see you looking at me. Yeah, my eyes are open wide. So you want me to set you free? Take a walk with me outside. Tell me everything about you. Yeah, 'cause I really wanna know. You can ride with me forever. Yeah, anywhere you wanna go. Night is over the park and a few bright stars. I give you the moon and my all is yours. Don't hesitate, just give me your all. Just give me your all. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'll show it love, let's go for gold. Let's go for gold. If we ever was lost before, all, just give me your all. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'm so in love, let's go for gold. Yeah, yeah, let's go for gold. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'm so in love, let's go for gold. Yeah, let's go for gold. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. I'm here today with Curt Thompson, running for the Gwinnett County Commissioner chairman seat, and happy to have him here. So, Curt, we Charlotte Nash has been in that seat a very long time.
11 years.
11 years. People love what she's. A lot of people love what she's doing.
Sure.
What do you see? How can you see that you can improve on what she's done or make it better?
And I think that's, you know, I think that we have to, in order to manage change, you have to manage the change, and you can't just simply run from it. I think that things like not putting a transit I mean, I'm not here to criticize her, but
Right.
but one of the things you've got to do is you can't bow to political pressure. You've got to push forward on mass transit and not have it be on a special election ballot. I think that you do have to not just simply. She's done a very good job of running things very well. But I think to move forward, we have to be bolder in certain things. Certainly, if we want to promote small business, certainly if we want to promote the diversity in the county, certainly if we want to harness our economic development so that our kids have opportunities here and don't have to move to other counties to buy their first homes. You know, I think that those are the things that I would want us to focus on and changing, and making sure that there's equity in how our resources are distributed around the county. I'm not saying that Charlotte has done this, but there's been a history that our county commission chairs are kind of like an extra commissioner for the area they're from. And so when Wayne Hill was commissioner, there was a lot of stuff that went up into Beaufort and Sugar Hill. And when Lillian Webb was the commissioner back in like late 80s, early 90s, a lot of stuff went into Norcross. You've got to look at the whole county and make sure that we're not simply, oh, well, let's just develop the new part of the county, not the old part, not pay attention to the older parts of the county.
So how does that work? So let's say I'm the commissioner in District 4 where I live. That's Marlene's district. I'm not trying to take your district, Marlene. I'm just talking in general. I'm the commissioner in District 4, and I want to build I want to put out a new shopping center out there. So when you say that, what does that mean? Like not everything.
Well, I mean, well, it doesn't work that way. You know, Marlene does not say I want to put a new shopping center out there, but someone comes with an idea a developer comes with an idea to put a new shopping center, and then it goes through the planning and zoning process. It may already be zoned. It's already zoned for that. Then it never really sees anything but the permitting. But it's working with your county administrator on a vision for the county, an overall vision, and then implementing that. But I do think that we've got to make sure that you know that everybody has opportunity in Gwinnett, not just a select few. And that's probably the biggest change that I would want to make, is making sure that those resources go countywide, that our focus is countywide. Because if you're the county commission chair, you are supposed to be focusing on countywide issues, and it can't just be whatever's new. Sometimes it's got to be the back and fill stuff. And how do you manage that change? Because we have the opportunity to be to New York. You know, what Brooklyn is to New York, Atlanta could be to, or Gwinnett could be to Atlanta, in the sense of being that sort of international community that's kind of hip, great place to live and raise a family once you're through being downtown and things like that. But we've got to learn how to harness that.
How would we do that?
I mean, one is acknowledge that and not run from it. Two is you do have to have the mass transit issue solved. You have to promote those types of businesses and empower those small businesses, especially in the international communities and in South Gwinnett and West Gwinnett, to do well and to be more vibrant. And you know, part of what making of what the old slogan, Gwinnett is great, success lives here, which is a really old slogan from way back when I was
Are you
a
going to
kid.
change it if you get in the seat?
Well, I don't think that's even our slogan anymore.
Okay.
I mean, it is something that people say, but it used to be on the water towers that aren't even there anymore in
Okay.
the area where I used to be a state senator. And I think that it's making sure that applies to the international community, to the Latino community, the African American communities, and making sure there's equity in how that's done around the county.
I was talking to someone recently, and that very conversation came up, and what she said to me was that a lot of the contracts go to the same people over and over
again.
And
yep,
she
it's
said
the same folks or their kids or their grandkids.
Right, but she said she had her perspective on that was this. Well, that's probably because they grew up together. They've known each other. They have these relationships. Because I said to her, it sounds like a clique to me, right? And she said
they used
it could
to call it
be
the Buford Mafia.
That's exactly what she said to me, which is so funny. And I was like,
and I think that that's fine, but you've got to be able to have everybody have a seat at the table. And that's the other thing, is that you've got to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table, whether they're in the Muslim community, whether in the Latino community, whether in the African American community, the folks from the Caribbean that are here. Everyone needs a seat at the table.
Okay.
And everyone needs to make sure their voice is heard. And we need to, as representative democracy, make sure that we are listening to all their voices and not just the same voices that we've been listening to for years and years, because they all grew up together, as you said.
Okay, so that being said, so you have these different organizations. You have the chambers and the Hispanic Association and the Asian Association. Are you going to put together a organization that gives everybody a seat at the table?
Well, I mean, we're the county. Because let's not go reinventing the wheel. Let's create a new organization.
Okay.
Let's invite them in. There are county, where the counties get to appoint planning commissioners and zoning.
Okay.
Library board, this board, that board.
Okay.
You invite them in that way. You go to their meetings oftentimes, because some of the communities don't necessarily trust government. They came from places where government wasn't to be trusted, and they just they came here to say, oh no, I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
So you have to show up to their stuff, be a part. You do have to sometimes organize roundtables, absolutely, but there's not a new organization. There's the county government. It's not like let's create something else to give them. That's in fact, we've done that in the past. It's almost like, oh, we'll give you this because we don't actually want to give you power. We don't actually want you to have a seat at the table, so we're going to give you a different table and pretend that's the table.
Okay.
No. You need to actually be part of being in our government.
Okay. All right. So we're about out of time. So tell people why they should vote for you.
I have said in my campaign, I'm asking for your vote in the May 19th primary, and then again in the November general election. I spent 16 years, I'm a lifelong Gwinnett resident who has spent 16 years in the legislature fighting for you every day in Atlanta. And if you honor me with your vote on election day, I promise you I will fight for you every day in Lawrenceville the same way I fought for you every day in Atlanta.
All right. Curt Thompson, how can they reach out to you?
So they can reach out to me at Curt for Gwinnett. That's CurtFor Gwinnett.com. There you can. You can also search me on Facebook, Friends and Neighbors of Curt Thompson, or just Curt Thompson. Will pull up my personal page, but I'm at the friend limit on that one. So Friends and Neighbors of Curt Thompson, you can like that. I'm on Twitter. It's Curt Thompson. Again, just if you do a search, you'll find me. But the website, if you're trying to sign up for our email list, if you're trying to get a phone number to call me, that sort of thing, it's Curt for Gwinnett, CurtFor Gwinnett.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Curt Thompson. Listen, guys, you heard it. Now, we have some work to do. We have to figure out who we want to vote for, because we have some amazing, amazing people running for this seat. And it's always good to be able to sit down and talk to them and hear their views on what they feel that's going to make this county better. I love Gwinnett County. I've only been a resident for 7 years. And I got to tell you, I love it here. And I plan on, when they put me in the box, they'll still say she lived in Gwinnett County. So that's that. Listen, that's all I got for you today. I'll be back again on Monday, 9 a.m., God willing. Thank you again for listening. If you missed any episode of the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com and listen to the past episodes there. And be sure to download the app on your mobile phone, Android or Apple. We got an app for that. And also share the show with your friends and family. Help us keep it moving. Curt Thompson, thank you again for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I'll be back again Monday. Listen, be safe out there this weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful. Have some fun and wash your hands. Wash your hands. Listen, we don't know where it is. It's pop. My husband just sent me a text and said 2 people at his job got sent home because somebody in their family. So it's crazy. I said to him, "Did you wash your hands?" That was in commercial, But be safe out there, guys. Thank you again for listening. Love you to life, and until next time, make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you missed an episode, go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to catch up. If you liked this episode, subscribe to the show now and share it with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit www.noisemedia.us.